This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, you are very welcome. This is Reading the Past and I'm Dr. Cat. In today's video, my aim is to provide some suggestions for those of you who already really enjoy early modern drama and who maybe want to lure your friends and loved ones into that love so that you have got a whole bunch of people to share your enjoyment with. Maybe you've got a partner who thinks Shakespeare is far too old-fashioned and thus refuses to go to any production of it with you. Or you might have a school-aged child in your life who is currently really struggling to get to grips with any set text they have in their English literature lessons. I'm hoping this video could be the thing that helps. Today, we're going to take a look at a selection of films and TV series that are based on works by William Shakespeare. I have decided to focus on media where the Shakespeare play is the inspiration, rather than talking about straight film or TV versions or adaptations of the play. So what I mean by that is, for example, I'm not going to highlight Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet in this one. With that being said, I think that's a great film and definitely worth checking out. Additionally, if you would like a video on recommendations of Shakespeare plays that are on film, please do let me know. But before we jump into today's topic, I want to say an absolutely massive thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring another video on this channel. Squarespace has made building, updating and managing my website so simple. With Squarespace Blueprint, it's even easier. This guided website design system asks you a few questions and then helps you to create a well-designed and personalised website. You can then make any changes you wish to fonts, colours, images, etc., all through the Fluid Engine editor, which is so simple because it's just drag and drop. From showing off my most popular videos on YouTube, to hosting my merch store, to managing my mailing list, my Squarespace website offers me everything I need. As I've mentioned before, I love the fact that I can use Squarespace through my desktop or laptop, but also through the app on my phone. Whether I'm analysing traffic or editing the website itself, this means that I can do it from anywhere. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/readingthepast to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. But now, it's time to dive into the film and TV that was inspired by the work of William Shakespeare. Where possible, I am going to link in the description box places where you can see the films that I am mentioning in this video. Forbidden Planet from 1956 borrows heavily from the themes, plot and characters found in The Tempest. In both, the audience encounter a father and daughter living an isolated existence. We've got Prospero's Island in The Tempest, the planet Altair 4 in Forbidden Planet. Prospero's magical gifts are arguably echoed in Dr. Edward Morbius's manipulation of science and technology. Caliban, arguably the island's first human inhabitant, who has been tormented and enslaved by Prospero, is shown in the play becoming vengeful and threatening, while Dr. Edward Morbius's own subconscious is the thing that gives rise to a, quote, monster from the id. This monster then attacks this community of interplanetary travellers. The spirit Ariel is exchanged for Robbie the robot. There is, however, a shift in the ending of this story. Do cover your ears if you want to avoid spoilers. While in The Tempest, Prospero drowns his book and swears to abjure magic from thence on before reclaiming his place as Duke of Milan, Dr. Edward Morbius recognises and accepts that the monster is another version of himself. He decides to send his daughter and their visitors away, while he remains on the planet, having set in motion a program that will cause the total destruction of that planet and thus his own death. Anyone But You from 2023 is loosely based on Much Ado About Nothing, inasmuch as we follow our principal characters, Ben and Bee, so very like Shakespeare's Benedict and Beatrice, as they embark on an enemies to lovers journey that is set against the backdrop of a wedding. There have been some significant changes made to certain plot points. I would argue that perhaps the stakes are somewhat lower in the film than they are in the play. Nevertheless, the team behind the film do provide a modernised version of that verbal sparring and barbed wit that was originally intended to be performed on the early modern stage. Maybe you're on the lookout for media that's been inspired by the Taming of the Shrew, and if so, well, you're in luck, because you have choices. Here are just a few. In 10 Things I Hate About You from 1999, we have a modernisation of the play. It's now set in an American high school. Bianca's father doesn't want her to date. Eventually, he will capitulate with the proviso that she cannot date until her older sister Kat starts dating. Unfortunately for Bianca and the boys who want to date her, Kat has shown no interest in a romantic life. Thus, a plan is set in motion for Kat to be pursued and tamed so that Bianca can go on some dates. Unlike the Shakespeare play, the film version of Kat/Kate is not tortured into submission, at least not physically, by Patrick/Petruchio. In Deliver Us from Eva from 2003, a meddling elder sister is depicted as a problem to be solved by finding a man to date and distract her. Her younger sister's partners hope that this plan will encourage Eva to move away and to stop interfering in their relationships. However, the plot of this film does then massively diverge from the Shakespeare play. When the younger sister's partners start to feel that this budding romance might actually be a threat to their relationships. This in turn leads to a kidnapping and a faked death. Kiss Me Kate is a musical within a musical. Divorced couple Fred and Lily are set to star in a musical version of The Taming of the Shrew. Behind the scenes, arguments abound. There are a whole variety of lovers' quarrels going on. It's very much life imitating art in the art, if you will. At the end of the musical Shrew, all is, however, reconciled. The lovers reunite with a kiss. If we take a look at the film's theatrical poster, I think we can see that there is a clear sign that in this version, the physical taming of the shrew figure is still a feature of the play, with bottom spanking being pictured prominently. She's the Man from 2006 takes Twelfth Night and relocates the plot to an elite American boarding school called Illyria. Illyria is the country that plays host to the original shipwreck that drives the action in Twelfth Night. In Twelfth Night, Viola decides to disguise herself as a boy for her own safety. In the film version, Viola chooses a similar disguise so that she will be allowed to take up her brother Sebastian's place at Illyria's school. This will in turn allow her to follow her dreams to be on a football team. The girls' team she was on was cut, and the coach refused to allow those girls to then join the boys' team. At the school, Viola/Sebastian now has a roommate called Duke Orsino, so exactly the same as you see in the play. Orsino, or rather Duke, wants to pursue his beautiful classmate Olivia in a romantic fashion. From then on, the film plot plays out in much the same manner as the play. In My Own Private Idaho from 1991, the audience follows narcoleptic sex worker Mike and his best friend Scott, who is the son of Mayor Jack Favor, as they travel together in search of Mike's mother. It is Scott's path through this movie that broadly follows that of Shakespeare's presentation of the Prince Hal to Henry V figure in his Henry IV and Henry V plays. Scott, like Hal or Henry, is going to have to go on a journey of self-discovery and development. He will have to lose father figures to death, and he will finally set aside his former ways to live anew. In the film, gang leader Bob Pigeon is the Falstaff figure. Lines from Shakespeare also make a fairly regular appearance in this film. Next up is a film that I was completely unfamiliar with, but having found myself wondering if Titus Andronicus had by any chance inspired contemporary media, IMDb brought me to the trailer for The Hungry from 2017. According to IMDb, this is, quote, an adaptation of William Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus, set in contemporary New Delhi. The Hungry is a contemporary retelling of Shakespearean tragedy Titus Andronicus, set in the extravagant surroundings of an Indian wedding, whilst exploring the role of the patriarch and corruption in Indian politics and big business. We are also told, quote, "The Hungry follows Tulsi Joshi, a widow and bride-to-be who comes to her own wedding seeking revenge for the brutal murder of her firstborn son." Based on Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus, The Hungry is about the violence that exists between power and love, a macabre fairy tale set in the elite circles of northern India. From the trailer alone, I am really up for checking out this film. Have any of you seen it? Is it as good as the trailer makes it look? The star-crossed lovers Romeo and Juliet, who try desperately to find a way to be together in spite of the hatred and violence that existed between their rival families, but who would ultimately find themselves and their families engulfed in tragedy, was arguably most famously reimagined through the musical West Side Story, the film of which was released in 1961. Special mention needs to be given, I think, to the manner in which this modern version makes a dance with finger clicks so aggressively ominous. In the film, two gangs of teenagers battle for the Upper West Side. The Capulets and Montagues of the play become the Sharks and the Jets of the film. The film gangs are separated by ethnicity, the Sharks being Puerto Rican and the Jets being white, mostly of Polish and or Irish descent. Before long, the Shark leader's little sister, Maria, falls in love with ex-Jet Tony. As in Shakespeare's drama, the result is a tragic loss of lives. For a more recent take, perhaps Warm Bodies of 2013 might be of interest. A zombie called simply R. He has forgotten his full name, but believes that it once began with an R, falls in love with Julie. She is the human daughter of the human leader of the survivors following this zombie apocalypse. This version of Romeo and Juliet is, however, comedic and ultimately culminates in a happy ending. House of Cards from 2013, at least the American version from 2013, draws on many Shakespearean tragedies. The portrayal of Frank Underwood draws inspiration from Shakespeare's Richard III and Iago from Othello. Like these characters, Frank breaks the fourth wall to monologue directly to the audience as he goes about his wicked machinations. Meanwhile, Frank's marriage to Claire Underwood draws inspiration from Macbeth and his lady, from their cutthroat ambition which serves only to spur this pair on. For Hamlet-inspired media, we have The Lion King, the animated film of 1994, the musical, which opened in 1997, and the film remake from 2019. Like Hamlet, little lion cub Simba must find his way in the world after his father, Mufasa, leader of their pride, is murdered by his brother, Simba's uncle Scar. It has been suggested that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern have been reimagined in this version as Timon and Pumbaa. Hamlet and Simba are both visited and guided by ghostly apparitions of their fathers. Both will ultimately seek to end their uncles' lives. The Lion King's body count is substantially smaller than that of Hamlet, which is probably for the best, considering the intended audience. For a more adult version of Hamlet, Sons of Anarchy, which started in 2008, is where the Hamlet plotline is reworked to focus on an American biker gang. Indeed, one review called it, quote, Hamlet on Harleys. Jax Teller's father was seemingly sabotaged and usurped by his gang brother, not a real brother, but a gang brother, Clay, who then marries Jax's mother. This, of course, echoes the Hamlet Claudius Gertrude setup. A number of episodes use elements of Shakespeare's text in their titles, and the series as a whole ends on this quotation from Hamlet, from Act 2, Scene 2, quote, Doubt thou the stars of fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. Over the 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy, they do manage to absolutely trounce the body count of Hamlet. which stands at 9 for the play, including Hamlet's father, just in case you were wondering. King Lear provides the inspiration for A Thousand Acres, the film of which was released in 1997. In this, King Lear is replaced by Larry, a farmer with 1,000 acres at his disposal and 3 daughters to whom he wishes to entrust his land. His youngest daughter voices her displeasure at this idea. She is then exiled from the family, further disputes break out, and ultimately the family is torn apart. And last, but by no means least, we have the film O from 2001. This transfers the plot of Othello to an American high school. In this film, star basketball player Odin is dating the beautiful and popular Desi. Enter Hugo. He is Odin's teammate and also the son of the coach, who is shown constantly praising Odin. Hugo is vengefully jealous, and so he embarks on a plan to make it seem like Desi is unfaithful. He claims that she has been embarking on a secret relationship with their teammate Michael, and he looks for ways to make Odin believe this. The film will follow a similar trajectory to Shakespeare's play, and this includes the tragic ending. Indeed, in both cases, the endings are a near double of one another. So what do you think? Of the examples of film and TV we have looked at today, how many have you seen? Are there any other reworkings of Shakespeare that you would recommend? What about the number of reworkings that we've talked about today that were set in American high schools? Do you think this was an effective choice? Is this the filmmakers trying to provide English teachers with a launchpad to try to get their students interested in Shakespeare, maybe? As always, I'm looking forward to reading your conversations in the comments section underneath this video. I would also love it if you could pop an emoji or a social glyph in the comments too, because that will boost the engagement. And the more engaged video gets, the more YouTube claim they share it out, and that should help us to grow our community. As we've been looking at things that are both stage, film and TV, maybe you pick an emoji. Do you prefer the stage version, in which case pick something theatre-y, or do you really enjoy checking out the film and or TV versions, in which case pick an emoji that shows that. You can also find me elsewhere on social media. I will leave links to the place you can find me on the internet in my description box. Please do follow me over on some or all of those so we can continue this conversation and start some others. I do hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please do share it with your friends. If you like my channel, let some pals know about it. You can tell me you like this video in particular by hitting the thumbs up. Please do subscribe to the channel. And if you think you are subscribed, have a little check now, just to make sure that YouTube hasn't mysteriously unsubscribed you against your will. While you are there, checking, subscribing, maybe resubscribing, please do hit the bell icon that sits beside the subscribe button and then select all in the drop down that will appear, and that way YouTube claim they will tell you when I've next uploaded and also when I'm next going to go live, which I do to talk about the history news. I know you're not going to want to miss that. We have, of course, got our failsafe. Please head to my website, which I will link. It is www.katrinamarchant.com. If you go to the contact page, you'll see a little box. Put your email address in that box, and that will let me send you out a message once a week to let you know what I've been up to, and also to send you some links for my content for the coming days that might be useful to you. I hope you're going to have a great day whatever you're doing, and I look forward to speaking to you all in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.